And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and continue, the bricks just like this. All right, going up. And I see that you have, does that represent a solder course, Joel? This?
Yeah.
All right, so this wouldn't be quite, so solder cores is equal to 3 bricks, right? Horizontal bricks. Oh, I don't know if you have that dimension or not, but anyway, if that
You
was
should,
the
you should.
case, that would be the solder cores.
Mhm.
All right, and then my other bricks will start right there. Okay, so and that goes, and then so that's fine. I continue to have again my rigid insulation right here. Okay, right onto there. Okay, and then and most likely this rod right here, those rods, those are things that basically is sealing the air for going into the space. So that's like a little, if you do a uh, that's not it. Seal. So it looks like this backer rod right there. It's like a rounded insulation, like really tiny. Okay, that's like a rigid insulation, a little soft, and that goes into your window. That's what this guy right here. Notice how they look right there. There you go. Notice the rod right there. Okay, that's what that looks like. So every time you see that rod, okay, backer rod, and you see them on the windows and things like that. All right, notice right here, it's another example where you see them. Okay, that's what that is. And notice the different sizes right here, right? You can go from smaller to really bigger diameter. Okay, so that's how you when you look at that. So every time you read something that you see something on a detail, just Google it and see what it looks like. Okay, don't try to just copy it and hope that you know what's about. And so here you're doing things to learn. All right, we're doing things so we can make it work. All right, so it's really important that you pay attention to that. So now I know that this little backer rod that goes right here, I know what that is. And so when I'm drawing that, that means is the window, the frame is gonna be there, and someone's gonna come with that and try to just push it in to seal that. Okay, and once that happens, then they come with a sealant outside over that window, and that basically hides the backer rod, because that's like an insulation piece. All right, so and then once that happens, right, I will have my finish, my metal stud right in here, depending on how big this wall is. All right, and that's the metal stud. And then the next thing on the metal stud is that I need to worry about is I may need to have a header for that metal stud inside. I don't know how much opening, how much the span of that window is. If it's 6 feet, it's a 7 feet, whatever. So I may have to have a header. Okay. So if that was the case, then I can come and if you do it out of metal studs, they usually look like this. Okay, they put these channels. All right, and they'll be big, 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever that may be. And then at the bottom there's the C channel that basically creates the box. Okay, and so if I needed to do this,
Professor, oh,
yes,
was that on the inside?
yes.
Oh,
So look,
oh,
so you need to have, depending on the finish. Right
uh-huh,
now he has a metal stud wall. So
uh-huh.
so in order, there's no like a structural loads that are coming down, right? But if the span is really big, you still put a header, okay,
Okay.
right in there. So metal frame, okay. So and in reality, is lightweight header, okay. So notice what I'm doing right here, okay. So let's see which one will be a good example right there. All right. So this is a structural, okay.
Oh,
Not
so you
notice.
wouldn't see it on the interior like finishes. This is hidden, or would you? It would
No,
still
you don't.
have.
No, you don't see it because you're gonna put
It's
drywall.
it's part
Oh,
of the
okay.
wall. It's
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hidden by the drywall.
Okay.
yeah. So, but notice this one right there. That's exactly the detail that I'm drawing. You see, I'm creating the two
Mm.
C channels on the side, and then the C channel at the bottom, right? And then you start building the wall above it.
Okay.
So even me with knowing how things go together, I always had to look for things and see which one is the best way to detail what I'm doing. Okay. What's the benefit of doing this? Okay. Is that I can go ahead and have a space to for weights if necessary. Okay. In this case, there's not really heavy weights, so I don't have to do anything bigger. But let me show you something here. All right, so I was doing this. So they have this scenario where they do sort of sandwich. They create a header, okay, like this, and so from then, then you have a C channel here that takes care of the other metal stuff that goes up, okay, and then your drywall comes here. If it was drywall, you're finished, right? It comes up to here, and then you finish it like that, okay, and that's the window. Uh, this one doesn't have any trim, right? I'm just showing like if it was like a drywall finish. But if it had a drywall finish or any sort of trim, then that would be, let's say, my trim right over here, okay? Depending on how far do I take it. Oops, wrong one. All right, and again, there you go. And then I would depending on how I want to finish it, this I may bring, and this all is wood. So that creates my window, and this is my drywall. So this is what really, architecture and understanding how you put all this stuff together comes handy. Okay. Now it may seem overwhelming to you, and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Well, you know, we have to start somewhere. So what Joel did, it's just what I was asking for, but it still lack at the level of detail that detail is gonna have. Especially if it's 1 inch equals to a foot. All right. So that is why that it's really important that you gave me something to talk about. So what Joel did here, I can start talking about it. I can show you, okay, how do we deal with that, the roof connection. You decide on that, right? And then once this is done, right, like this, this sketch, I can go into Revit and replicate this, okay? And Revit will give me most of the stuff in there. So I would, just come and start putting that text and, solder cores, whatever, 8 inch, and then, whatever this metal, whatever header, and I put the dimension, trim, and you just, then it's just a matter of naming things, okay? So did you guys sort of follow the process on how we sort of try to understand that section?
Yeah.
I open it up. You know, you have to look up stuff online. And, if you were here, you may look at a book. But every single company out there has details. So go to the window manufacturer because they'll give me the information that's needed just for the window. Okay, up to whatever other material. And then you can look at the books and other sections and say, all right, what happens here? So ask questions. What do I use to hold the window? Okay. How do I cover this? What happens underneath that material? So you almost have to look at it really critical, just like I started looking at here. And I say, what happens on the soffit? All right. What happens with the insulation? All right. Right here, another example for you, Joel. Notice what happens here, and I'm sure you guys are gonna have this. Notice what happens with the. This is his Y flange, right in here. So in reality, the Y flange is here. Okay, so I cannot bring my metal stud wall all the way up. Okay, because that Y flange right there, it's in the way. So that means I'm gonna stop my metal stud wall right there, right underneath that, and I'm able to fasten that. And then I had to think about what happens here, right? That thing is sticking out. And you see, and you have a ceiling. That means that ceiling. I don't. If you have a ceiling, that means you're trying to hide what's on the wall because you brought it all the way up. So I need to think, how do I hide that? What would be my options? One option would be to you create some sort of band. I'm making things up here. I'm not telling you to do that. Okay, I'm just saying my rationale now. I would say, oh man, that thing I don't know, and I don't want to make my wall thicker because the other way to do it is I just made my metal stud to be wider, so it goes up to here. If this is how big is this metal stud? Is it a 2x4? Is it a 2x6? Is it a 2x8? Whichever that is. But let's say if I put a 2x8 or a 2x6 and it clears out that space, that's perfect because over here I can put a smaller piece of metal, and continue it up, and my drywall can come and stop right here. You see, and then my ceiling will stop right there. Okay, so notice that, I mean, I love doing this stuff because those are the things that you have to figure it out and try to understand, because the builder is gonna do whatever as close as you have to this section. And sometimes when you have a builder on your meetings, they'll come and they say, oh, that detail is not gonna work because on the last job we did we had this trouble. They'll help you work some of these detail out, but you have to have something. Okay, and so we need to sort of go through this process. It may feel a little painful, but that's fine. You just gotta do it and get used to doing it. And don't do things. I'll give you one more example, and I move on. I just want you guys to know that I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I have experience, which is good right now. But when I don't know something, I have to follow the same process that I'm teaching you right now to do with my other stuff. Okay. Every time I have to deal with something new, either a product that I haven't used or a detail, a situation on how the wall connects to the roof, I have to follow the same process, just like you're going to do right now. So for me, it's not like you know it all the time. We have to do it every single time. And if you have Instagram, there's a company I believe out of Seattle. It's called Build, and I always follow them on Instagram. And I love the guy because he's always putting the sketches of some of these details of the buildings that they do, and they do beautiful modern architecture, but really nice, okay, and really classy modern architecture. And I just like how they always show these sort of details, and so it's just something that you continue to do all the time. And these drawings then become process. You see, how you did it, why you got there, and even if it was wrong, even if you got one thing wrong, is much better than not having anything. So I appreciate Joel sort of like, okay, let me go at it. I don't know, I'm just gonna do the things that I know, and you put it in there. But you see, I didn't have to draw the whole thing by myself. So that's the attitude that I want you to take as we go through this whole section. Give it a shot, try to just draw something as much as you can, and then I come with you and we solve it, just like I'm doing it here with Joel. And that's the process. That's just how it works. So don't try to delay it. Just jump at it, and then when we meet together, I'll just gonna go ahead and help you. I'm just gonna go ahead and help you sort of solve some of these details. So I won't do the rest, Joel. I hope this
Yeah,
is
no, that's fine. It works and it helps.
yeah.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
What
So
what's the
same
name
thing
of
here. All right.
Professor?
Get
What's the
examples. It really important to like draw them in a way that you can put notes and you're able to at least know what's in there. Okay. So like this one for me right here, it's a little harder, to really help. Like too many things happening. This one was a lot better when it comes to how do I help you develop that. But notice when I'm doing this, if you had to make it a little bigger, just so you can read it and be able to do extra lines, change colors for the insulation, and then that makes it a lot easier to help you with anything that you do. So I'll do that, and we'll be talking, with everybody. Okay, one thing here, just so we go. This insulation, remember, we would like to do this, okay? And we'll have to look at the whole thing, and because this concrete is gonna be sitting here, and then yes, we're gonna have some sort of joint control right over here, okay? And then I would say, okay, what does that look like, okay? Because when we do draw things in section, right? What is that like? So I say backer rod, I look it up so you can see them, and then if I go in here and I saw floor control joint, okay? And if I go in there, then it's like, okay, let's see what kind of floor control joints do I have, okay? None of this will really help me for that, okay? And then I'm gonna look into any option, okay? There's some that I can use, right? That I can put different, sort of like caulks that I do. big buildings, they're gonna have those big, because the two structures are moving separately, so you need a lot of joint controls in there. So your project probably has some of those big ones. We just haven't really gotten into them into to really show you that. But that's more or less the joint control that would happen along that wall. So this would be, for example, this would be a condition either through the entrance, through the threshold of your door. That may be a location, and so on. So just Google things when you don't know. I mean, just Google and see if you find anything. Now, when you don't know what it's supposed to look like, I'm sure it's gonna be harder to pick the right thing, right? So I'm not saying like you're gonna find it right away. When I do it, I know what I'm looking for the most part. But notice right here, all right, that's another. Oh, look at that one. That's kind of cool. Notice how the two floors and they have this sort of joint control, but you can put the material over, right, to make it seem like it's one. That's kind of cool. So anyway, and notice this one right here that has some sort of vinyl gasket, all right, that they can put in there. So depending on the material, you'll be able to do some of these things. Okay, so I'll stop here. I hope you guys, I'll be stopping by your own room. I'll create the rooms, but it's really important that you have something that we can talk about. If you just have the wall section by itself, I'll be the one solving the problem, but that doesn't help you, okay? Because in your final, when you're presenting, someone may ask you a question, and I want it to be, you know, 80% your answer, right? Because I still need to help you, all right? And so, but if you understand them, because Joel was able to do his part, on this, right? And the little 2 cents that I added, he'll be fine defending this in the future because when you're drawing it, you'll be reinforcing what we just discussed over here. All right. So
Professor,
just any other question in terms of the process and how you go about solving some of these details.
I have a question, but not directly related to that.
What is it related to?
The place. What's the name of the place that you said usually uploaded details on Instagram?
Oh, the guy?
Yeah,
Oh, do you want the name, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, give me a second. I was gonna look it up here. I'll give you the. Let me look at the people I follow.
Isn't it detailsforcost.com? All right.
Now this is actually an architecture firm that has a really awesome. I mean, I just love how the architects always share their process, and a lot of
okay.
this stuff they just share how they draft their details before they do it on the computer.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I was talking about that, and so he's asking for that company. But let me see. I don't see it here. I just saw one yesterday. I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, another thing too is that right here is BUELD LLC. So build LLC, and I'll show you. I mean, I could share it here, but I don't know if let's see. I mean, uh, yeah, something like that. But anyway, they have a lot of cool details and just the process that they use. And this guy always does it like on this sketchbook, and then of course they have their real projects. And I just love looking at how they solve their problems. So it's really thoughtful process. Uh, okay, right here. So this is one example. You're not gonna be able to see it, but they have like a. Can you kind of see what is there? It's like a bench,
Bench.
wood
Yeah.
bench,
Okay.
and then at the bottom, those are the details exactly of how they build it. And so I love it because they do share a lot of stuff. I did one house that had like unique details, and I use some of the details that they do all the time. This is a design and build that does residential and commercial. So I really like their work. But the other thing too, which I did yesterday, let's see. I don't know if it'll be here. Let's see. Where is my stuff? There you go. Notice the stuff that I do. I go online, and I'm a nerd, of course, but uh, there you go. This is another way to finish that someone doing a detail, okay, of some sort of parapet. Now, this is the beauty of this, guys. Let me just take a photo of this really quick, and then and bring it here really into this. Um, so what I like about this thing is that I can, yeah, do it. There you go. All right. So what I like about this is that I can, in reality, okay, let's see. Oh, I cannot go in there. All right, there you go. Okay, so notice this. If I was doing this detail, all right, this is for concrete. Okay. So, but if I ignore, all right, if I just go in here and I just imagine this piece not being concrete, being something else, okay, I can come in here, make this a metal stud. I mean, I'm just making it up right now, but I'll tell you how you use the details. All right. And the metal stud, the wall will go down right in there. And that's my metal stud. All right. It's spacing like that. And then I can go in here on the metal stud and, I will do my sheeting, and the sheeting will stop right there. And that will be my dense glass. Right. And then I can come here with whatever I want to finish. If it's a rain screen, is it like a metal panel, whatever that is. If it was like a metal panel, whatever that I can buy, I can put those panels right there, right? Assuming I'm doing the detail. And of course, this thing will be farther out right there. But all of a sudden, then I can come in here and let's say my Y flange is here. Let's say in this scenario, the scenario is here, right? And it's right there. That's my Y flange. All right. And then actually something is wrong here. What is that? What am I missing? Let's say if this was, what am I missing? I'm missing my decking. Let's say this was an actual metal. All right. So I'm going to have my decking here right below all this stuff. And that it's not going to be as thick as that concrete. Right. And then my Y flange, I may have, my open web joist right here and so on. Okay, so that will be my open web joist, and my open web joist is sitting on that, resting on that Y flange. Okay, so decking, I do all the stuff they're doing here based on that system that they have if I wanted to use it. But did you see how I replace the stuff that they have? Even if it's concrete, you can go ahead. Okay, this detail right here, nothing wrong with this stuff over here. I can literally use it, assuming I want to use this system. Okay, what's the beauty of this stuff? That it has engineered soil. So that's like for a green roof. Okay, so that's why it's a little heavy. All right, but I can do it. I mean, it's already done for me. All I need to do is, how do I then use the stuff that I already have and accommodate that to that detail? Does that make sense? So a lot of the answers are out there for you. You just have to learn how you integrate them with what you already have. Okay? So don't reinvent. Right here, this detail right here, let's say if I wanted to do this sort of green roof with soil and everything, it just saved me, like 30 minutes of me trying to figure out what to do. And all I had to do was integrate it with what I already have. Okay? So that's the process that I do. I would recommend you using right now because it's going to make, that's what I would do. If I don't understand something, that's what I would do. I just go straight into this. But last night, it's on my other account, but great. Anyway, last night, I just like to go in here and find details of stuff. Look, that's a planter along the facade of a building. All right, this is somewhere in Europe, right? So it might not apply this here to America. I show you right now. Notice over here another detail. Okay, I can replace this stuff on that building and make it fit what I have if I wanted to use this. And there you go. So I have tons of stuff like this. That's the way I learn. Okay, things, especially things that I don't use often. And so, all right, so I'll stop here because we have a lot of things to do. Another one right here, similar stuff, right? Be careful when you pick up things from Europe, okay? Because Europe is gonna have just a total different system. So try to find products that are known in America, because if not, if it's from Europe, we may have to like reinvent a lot of things because we have different standards, when it comes to energy and also, no, not necessarily that it's bad. It's just they're just different. Notice integrated gutter, right? That is hidden on the that. If I was gonna be using this on my building, same thing. I use the roof, the gutter, and the parapet, and then everything else underneath that, I'll try to make it work on my project and see what would that mean. All right, so go ahead and I'll create the groups right now. Let me stop sharing here. Any other general question on the process? So no excuses not to not do stuff. This is how I do it. This is how you and I will work it out. But I want you to go ahead. Don't be afraid to mess up. Draw something up. Find something that looks like similar to what you want, and use the things that are useful for you, and throw away and redraw the areas that aren't and that you need to draw. Just like what I did with that other example. Okay? So really, really, really straightforward. Of course, when we do it all the time. But once you get this, and you keep doing this, and I don't know if Keith, you have anything else to do, but more or less, you like to use things that that you can find a detail that's halfway there, and you just finish it to work. So that's how it works in Office. In an Office, you may have the standard details, things that have that let's say the type of project that they do. Let's say they do a lot of residential, and they always have parapets, right? And so they may have the parapet, and so you start with that one, and you just change the 5% that's different on this project, but the other 95% it's going to be the same. So you reuse those. Okay, so in your case, you're starting from scratch, so to speak, but in Revit, you'll be able to do it relatively easy once you know what you want to be doing. So let me go here. All right, so let me create the rooms. I'll be stopping by, you guys. I know someone. I think Joe, the international, website, Masonry Institute. All right, and in here they have technical resources, and notice right there they have masonry detailing. Okay, so I'm gonna go in there, and they just have tons and tons of details on those bricks. So notice brick, concrete block, stone, tile, stucco, you name it, rain screen. And so my internet is bad, but if I click on one of these things right here, yeah, bad internet. There you go. Notice right here. So this is your typical cavity, masonry reinforced wall, right? I can look at the detail stuff we were talking about right now. Notice that angle, the can strip, right? That is in there. That could be wood. It could be made of whatever. And notice the flashing at the top if you have some sort of cap, right? A stone cap. And then notice all the how you your lintel. Notice the detail. Notice the flashing on the lintel, similar to the one we did, right? Over the metal lintel. The angle. Notice the storefront right there. Notice the seals. Okay, so we need to look at that. And so they show you a lot of things. Notice who has hollow core. Notice the hollow core right here on the floor, how they connect the brick and all this stuff. Really nice. And finally, there is your joint, your foundation, right? How it works at the bottom. So this is one, but they have other ones. I think on your computer, you probably get better things. And let's see, window, jam, and seal. This is an important one. All right, and here, and there you go. Look, they did. That's exactly how they're pretty much showing you what goes in there. Okay. Now, what would be the difference here? If this was metal stud, which also they have metal stud in there. Okay, just look for the detail.
The block.
Exactly. There you go. 100%. Just draw it up. Okay. So you replace the block and you go from there. All right. So that's exactly it. It's pretty straightforward. Notice the wood we were talking about right there. That's for the jam. right?
to
But that
connect
happens
it to
also,
the-
to be able to nail it, right? That most likely they have that also on the header if they need to. All right. So anyway, so I'm not making it up. This stuff people do it all the time, and so just follow this process, and we should be able to be just fine. So let's go ahead, break into rooms, and I'll promise I won't continue talking. And all right, let's meet back here. Let's meet back here at 4. Okay. So I'm just gonna stop really quick with you. See where you're at. If you don't have anything yet, I'm just gonna move on. I need you to start something just like Joel did. Okay. And then at 4, let's get together. I'll talk a little bit about Revit and the stuff that we want to do, especially as you once you have the detail, 80% figured out as a sketch, then don't waste your time. Move on into Revit and get it there. Finalize it there. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, let me create those groups here, and then we go from there.